Hello and welcome. I am Scarpalock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server with our Stalker, Shrike, who's level 44. We're approaching 30 million influence. We have 18.5 million experience. We'll have nearly 20 million when we reach level 45, which is just under a million influence from now. My guess would be in the next episode, assuming we don't end the story arc in this episode. The arc might or might not be enough to get us all the way up there, depending on what else we fight. We're currently working on +3 missions, which have about 40% or so enemies +4. As long as focus accuracy is on, we seem to be doing okay. We've got some extra yellow inspirations to boost our effectiveness in combat, just in case. And we're not carrying any greens because we have enough of our own powers to heal us up. And we have Moment in Glory just in case we get into trouble. We're on a story arc for Christopher Maxwell, the Eternal Nemesis, so we've been fighting Nemesis. And we know that the Nemesis and the Council are in war with each other, and he says the Nemesis army and the Council are going for each other's throats in an all-out conquest, and Nemesis seems to be losing. I can't believe it, but it looks like Nemesis forces have been hurt worse than I ever suspected by all the defeats you've handed him. And I don't remember the details, but knowing Nemesis, that's a fake out. He says, God help me, I need you to ask you to help them, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but help me help the Nemesis from being attacked by the Council. So I need to attack the Council and discover some ammunition, and we're going to Founders Falls to do it. And it's hard to believe, guys, we are rapidly approaching level 45, and I really can't believe this character has leveled as quickly as she has. I'm not playing her really hardcore. I've actually gone back and started working on some of the Shadow Shard with Silver Phoenix because I don't have those badges. I got all the Explorer badges and I'm doing some of the missions there. I absolutely detest the Shadow Shard, but Silver Phoenix is my main character, not this one. This is just my main recording character, but my main actual roleplay character and stuff is Silver Phoenix. And speaking of that, there's actually going to be a roleplay event in my supergroup's base, I believe, tonight, and I'm going to, for once, see if I can join it since I'm not working right now. I mean, it's summer, and I'm off for the summer because I'm a college teacher, and I have some summer work to do for my college, but that doesn't start until next week, and I'm not even sure what it's going to be because they haven't told me yet. They're trying to teach us how to do a better job of doing online classes in case we need to do that in the fall. They haven't really decided what we're doing in the fall yet. Seems like we're going to have in-person classes, but, you know, who knows what's going to happen in the future. And I want to be prepared because I suspect we're going to be going online again in the middle of the semester, just like we did last semester, and just like just about everybody did. So, that starts next week, but right now I have plenty of free time. And in addition to working on my D&D adventures and playing some Satisfactory, which, if you're watching, you've seen me post, perhaps, in my channel, I have some time to do some roleplay with Silver Phoenix. But I also, okay, this guy is a +3. I also want to get more badges for her and stuff. So, yeah, I'm trying to get. I mean, I can't get every badge in the game for her because I really don't like doing trials and task forces. But all the stuff that doesn't involve trials and task forces I'm trying to get for her. So all the Explorer badges. I think there are still a few zones I have left to do. I went back and did the regular not abandoned sewers with her a couple of weeks ago. I did the Shadow Shard with her. But you know, when I was doing the Shadow Shard, I did the exploration and I forgot to grab the history badge. So I'm going to have to go back and try to do that. I probably need to purchase one of the pay-to-win vendor powers for her for flight, because she got flight from some mission, like it was like 2 hours worth, and she only has about 15 minutes left, and you really need to fly in the Shadow Shard. Speaking of that, there's absolutely the case we will not be doing the Shadow Shard with this character. I'm not going anywhere near it. It's pretty much designed to grief players who have no flight ability or teleport. And I don't have, I'm not going to hover my way around there. It's just not worth it. Someday when I have a flight character I may do it, but if my character is super speed or super jump, I'm not going into Shadow Shard. I'm not trying to do badge collecting on Shrike just because finding exploration badges and super speed is just too annoying. So, and if you're not going to do exploration badges, since they're like half the badges in the game, there's no point to trying to do badge hunting, to me, because many of things like the accolade powers, the accolade badges that like give you little bonuses and stuff, if you get them, they require at least one exploration badge and a history badge in order to get the accolade, and I'm not doing that stuff on this character. There's just no way. It's just too frustrating to move around the large open zones like Founders Falls with super speed that I don't want to go looking for all the exploration badges and history badges with this character. So, you know, I mean, I'll play her missions and I'll go to her missions and stuff, but I'm not going to try to spend more time running around trying to super speed into high places than I already have to. And his heal did not help him because I critted him. That is awesome. Wow. This is a tiny little mission, it looks like. These are the last guys. Okay. He's not even a boss. I was gonna like try to placate him, but who cares? He's just a lieutenant. I mean, I know he has resistance to me, but he's nothing. Like, who even cares? This is a really easy mission. I'm surprised. So we need to find 2 more weapons caches and find some intelligence. Well, we're not going to find any intelligence in the bodies of the 5th Council, that's for sure, because they're not too smart. But we might find some intelligence in the computer files or something. Okay, so there is a desk, it looks like. Weren't we supposed to find 2 more things? Yeah, there's another thing over here. Why? That's weird. Okay, well, I guess we don't have to go get it. We got a clue. And the clue is, this is a schedule pertaining to a review of operations at several bases, including this one. More importantly, the orders have been scheduled by Field Marshal Bulek, a high-ranking vampire in the council. So this is some war. I don't understand why. I mean, I know he's concerned about the council getting powerful, but to me it's like, why don't you just let you and him fight? You know what I mean? Let them fight each other, and then when they're weakened, we can go in and kick their butts. Not that I can't kick their butts now, you know, but just strategically. You'd think you let 2 bad guys fight each other, and then you swoop in and mop up the remains, right? Alright. On to King's Row. And this is going to be... Is this a defeat all? Let's see what it says. Defeat Cassidy and his aides. So it could be a defeat all depending on what his aides means. We have not a single enhancement. I got a bunch of reward stuff, like I just went ahead and took the enhancement booster. We don't need it. The enhancement on slaughters, we don't need them. I don't think I've ever needed an enhancement on slaughter. I think I needed it once. I think I accidentally slotted something in once and I needed to use one on Homecoming. Or I put something in the wrong power. But like, why? Like, for SOs, you don't need it. It's just going to expire in a couple levels and then you can replace it. There are so many things you don't need to think about or worry about if you're just using SOs. And as you guys can see, we're fine. I mean, this character is able to solo all of her missions at +3. I mean, how much more can you ask of a level 44 character? Right? I mean, yeah, we're not doing +4s because I don't want to face +5s if they're in those missions, but, you know, if it weren't for the missing, we could do it. Like, how much more powerful does this character need to be, and all she has is SOs? Interestingly enough, not SOs, but enhancements and builds was a topic in my supergroup Discord. So I'm not going to give a lot of details because technically we're not supposed to be like talking about the supergroup with other people. I'm not certainly not supposed to be quote unquote bad mouthing them, and I don't think this is bad mouthing. It's just sort of telling a story. But I'll try to avoid some of the specifics so that no individual players potentially are embarrassed. But one of the members of the guild, was saying that so one of the guild leaders, let's go back. One of the guild leaders runs an incarnate trial task force, whatever you want to call it, incarnate trial run. Does an incarnate trial run with the guild every so often. I don't know what the schedule is. I don't pay a lot of attention to things like incarnate trials because I don't like to do them. Let's put it this way. I don't think I'd like to do them because I haven't actually done an incarnate trial, but I'm not a fan of trials and task forces and the way they're structured in this game because they're just too hardcore, and I like to relax and enjoy myself when I'm playing City of Heroes. I want it to be a challenge, but I don't want it to be super, super tense, and my sense is that the incarnate trials are meant to be super, super tense even if you have a really powerful build. And so what they were talking about was builds, and I guess there is some sort of a build requirement, some sort of a minimum, what would you call loadout that your character has to have before they'll let you into the guild incarnate trial team. And so one of the players was looking at the requirements and said, whatever he's got, he said, geez, I don't even meet that. And I think it was, you have to have all your incarnate powers in, and that is these abilities going up to hybrid, because they don't have, Homecoming doesn't have any of this, and none of this was implemented in the game, right? So having everything, I think, up through hybrid, at least the initial slot that you get, what they call the alpha slot, I think that's one of the minimums, and the other minimum, I think, is to have purple sets. So the way this works in the inventions, if you look here, here's one of our inventions. You see how this this number is blue. I think the number turns purple if you're using like the advanced version of the set. I'm not really sure because I don't think Silver Phoenix has any. She might have some purple sets. I think her archetype origin enhancers are purple, but I haven't paid any attention to that in months, so I don't really remember. And so they were asked to have purple sets or whatever, and this guy was like, geez, I don't have purple. I have a lot of incarnate stuff, but I don't have any purple sets. Those are really expensive and hard to get a hold of. I don't even know if you can buy them. I think you might have to just get lucky and do enough farming to find them. And so he was saying, I don't even know if I could meet those requirements. And they said, oh well, as long as you've got your sets in and you're not working off of, what did he call it? They didn't even say SOs, right? My character, this character wouldn't even, if it was on the Homecoming server, wouldn't even be allowed on such a team, as effective as it is, because it's only SOs, right? And that's, I guess it's just not going to be powerful enough for the incarnate trials, right? She doesn't have incarnate power, so it's a moot point. She's not level 50 yet. You have to be level 50 for this, right? So I'm not saying this character should be allowed. I'm just saying that you see how effective this character is, and even that is not powerful enough for these trials. And so they were talking about it, and the one guy said, a lot of people, how did he say it? They don't even slot. They only take a few of their attacks. He was talking about scrappers and tankers. They only take a few of their attacks, and they don't even slot. Those are their only attack powers. And he said they rely on their procs to do damage. So a proc, and I've explained this before, is when your enhancement does something like by ticks, right? Like it'll say every so many minutes, or it'll say I don't know, every like 1% chance of every hit of doing a certain amount of damage. That's a proc, right? And so some of the enhancement sets, though very few of the ones I've ever made, have these quote-unquote procs, right? And so it might like do when you hit with the power, and it's like a punch, right? There's say a 10% chance of it doing, I don't know, an AOE negative damage attack, right? And so what he was saying is, I guess some people build specifically for that proc, and procs like it, and they don't rely on like actually doing damage with their punch or their claw or their kick. They rely on doing damage with like direct damage, not bonus damage to their punch, but direct additional damage with their enhancement set, and that a lot of people build that way and so forth. And I just find that way of creating a champion, Sea of Heroes character so alien, because to me, like what the enhancements do by percent to the power is what I build them for, what I build for. And this just reinforces for me both the comment that I've made before, that I feel like these guys are playing the game on a whole other level from how I play it, but also that they would not want me on an incarnate team, right? Because I don't build that way, and I'm never going to build that way. It's just not. It's just alien to me to build that way. Where is this boss? Usually he's around here. There's usually, if there's a boss, it's... Oh, wait. No. I thought I saw somebody behind here, but no. Now, I'm not saying that way of building is wrong. My guess is that in practical terms, my way of doing it's wrong, right? That if your goal is the end game with the Incarnate Trials, building my way is not going to get you there. That's not my goal, so that's my choice. But, you know, if what you're trying to do is get to the end game and do Incarnate Trials, this is not how to do it. And you're never going to see how to do it from me. What am I doing here? I did not. I wanted to turn that off. There we go. No boss up here either. I don't know where this boss is. Cassidy. Might be downstairs. There is an underneath here. That guy died so fast he's still standing. I love when that happens. You're like, what? He's still standing there, but he's dead. Okay, these guys are not really... Oh, he saw me, sadly. Come on. Alright. I want to try to get on this ramp. There we go. And now these guys are aggro to me. Why is it not? There we go. For second tap, it's not selecting anything. Now it does that if you don't have him in view, but I had him in view, so I don't know. So yeah, one nice thing about this game is there are lots of ways to play it, and it still does play just fine the original way, just using SOs. But you can definitely see why my supergroup mates say that I play the game on hard mode, because I'm not using any of those procs or anything. I'll tell you what hard mode is super speed. So yeah, they think this is hard. I mean, I don't think it's hard, but I guess it would be hard if you're used to, you know, having sets by now and stuff like that. Alright, so let's go underneath and see if he's down here. There he is. Any buddies around him? Not really. That guy? We should be able to take him out without aggroing Cassidy. Nice. One shot. Love it. Now Cassidy's a boss, so that's good. A couple of times we've had lieutenants here, and that's not as much fun. So we'll go ahead and hasten up. We don't have instant healing, but we shouldn't need it against a regular boss. Especially if we can knock him down like that. Now the question is, who are his aides? I think there were still some guys upstairs or downstairs, upstairs, that we may need to take out. We'll see. Nope. That is the mission. I just love being able to heal like 3/4 of my hit point bar in one shot like that. Regen is so nice. It is a really good power set. And I keep wondering what would it have been like back in the days when instant healing... I can't remember now if it was just a toggle that you turned on and left on, and I think it might have been, or you could make it perma. And it was like once Regen Scrappers got that and had it either toggled or on or perma, you were just almost unkillable. It's so awesome. But even without that, we're pretty powerful. I like it. Okay, so he says with Cassidy under wraps, the council's going to need to reorganize. I was hoping that it would be enough for a pause to even things out between Nemesis Army and the council, and some of the reports I'm seeing are pointing to that. Still feels wrong though, like it was too easy. Yeah, of course, you're falling into Nemesis' trap. How can you be an expert on Nemesis and not know that he's always doing this? Here we go. This is my fault, Tiger Shrike. We've been used. Of course you've been used. It's Nemesis, you moron. He's like Dr. Doom. His plans have plans within plans within plans. When you defeat his plan, it was his plan for you to defeat him, and he actually won. That is how Nemesis is, you moron. This is my fault, Tiger Shrike. We've been had. Nemesis was only playing at being weak. He played on the council's sense of superiority by allowing them to win in the early rounds. He played on our sense of accomplishment. It made us think we'd hurt his forces badly, and then he's counterattacking. Fortunately, we still have some information he doesn't know about, thanks to you. Sure he doesn't. Nemesis counterattacks fit a pattern, hinted at in the research funding he'd done to reverse engineer Vandal's robot designs and computer programming. I think Nemesis is planning to take over the Council's computer and robotic infrastructure and achieve a coup d'etat. So, now we have to take the Council Computer Center so that we can use it to fight the Nemesis. And I think I'm going to just go to the mission door, since this is probably going to be this will be our last mission of today. We've got 2 beads left to go to get to level 45, so we won't reach it this episode, since this clearly is nowhere near the end of the story arc. This is the first step, so we probably got 3 or 4 more steps to do before we finally come face to face with a Nemesis that's not going to be real Nemesis, but fake Nemesis. And it's never real Nemesis. I don't know if they ever let you fight real Nemesis. I don't think they do. Like, you can fight Statesman and you can fight, what's his name, the leader of the Arachnos, Lord Recluse, but I don't think you can ever actually fight and defeat Nemesis. I mean, you can fight Nemesis forces, but I don't think you can fight the guy, like the real Nemesis guy. I think he always stays in the backgrounds. Whenever you think you've beaten him, it's always a false Nemesis. Just like whenever you think you've beaten Dr. Doom, it's always a Doom bot. And I bet you thought I was going to forget that you got to do the lieutenants last, because I've been fighting a lot of council and gotten maybe forgotten about it, but no, I remembered. Lieutenants last when fighting Nemesis. Yeah, so I going back to designing characters and builds, and whether you've got incarnate powers and purple enhancements and things like that, I don't believe I ever got around to posting the video that I had recorded about this very topic, because I believe that... What do we... we got here? Okay, so this guy has to go first so that this guy does not buff him. I believe that I never got to actually show the video. I may have. I don't think so. Where I discussed this about my supergroup and enhancements and so-called gearing. Because it's one of the recordings I hadn't posted yet in March when Homecoming banned the posting of video going forward. On March 8th, they said going forward, anyone who posts video of our gameplay of our servers will basically suffer the consequences, which probably means getting your account banned. So I haven't posted any videos ever since of Homecoming, and I've been posting here, but I've got a whole backlog of like 20 or 30 or so videos that I recorded and I never got around to posting. And so so in one of those I was talking about this topic and how my supergroup leader had originally been the one who was going to lead these, but she's become busy and not able to, so it's one of the other officers doing it. And I don't know if it's the same premise, because this was like back in November or something when she said this, but she was talking about how to do this, she said you need to be geared. And I remember just, that's like nails on a chalkboard to me in this game. To me, City of Heroes is a game where gear like really doesn't matter, right? It's irrelevant. Once you're at this level, I mean, we have 30 million influence, you can afford all your SOs, right? So everybody's geared in the sense that this isn't gear. This is just how you're enhancing your powers, right? Everyone can afford to fully enhance every power. You can see that I can, and I have 30 million left over, right? So this isn't gearing. This is just how you decided to bias what your power is doing. This could easily be a single damage and triple accuracy. And I'm not sure it would be any worse, right? Because we miss a lot. And if I had triple accuracy and single damage, we would never miss. We would hit every time. And my guess is the total damage over time in the course of, say, a mission would probably be almost identical to doing it single accuracy, triple damage, right? It's, do you hit half the time and do double damage, right? Or do you hit all the time and do half damage or whatever? And my guess is if you added it all up, it wouldn't be appreciably different. And so, and there isn't any chance that I'm not going to be able to afford those items. So to me, that's not really gearing. And that's not what she meant by gearing, right? What she meant by gearing was having the right sets with the right set bonuses that affect all of these abilities, none of which that I have right now with this character. Many of which I do have with Silver Phoenix, and I had those sets when she was saying this. So it's not that I don't have the sets, but City of Heroes has always been a game to me, not just to me, it was designed as a game where gear was irrelevant, right? Everybody can get the gear. It's not, there wasn't, when the game first started, there was no like rare loot or anything like that. It was just SOs, you could buy them in the shops, right? The worst you had to do was run a quest for the shop owner before he would sell you the items. Right, but every single enhancement you could put in the game into your character was in the game at the beginning, and was, these are lieutenants, okay, was available in the shops. There was no lack of gear. There was no like, oh, single origin damage is rare, so I've got to slot accuracy. No, they're all available all the time. It was not a question of am I able to find the gear. It was just a question of do I want to slot it. It wasn't even can I afford it by the time you're in your 30s. Right? By the time you're level 35 or so, you can buy every enhancement you want for the rest of the game. So it's not a question of can I afford it. It's not a question of can I find it. It's just a question of do I want to slot it or not. Do I prefer slotting more damage and less accuracy, or do I prefer slotting more accuracy and less damage? It was the design, right? It wasn't gear. This stuff is not really gear. This is design, right? I've designed this character a certain way. If I rip these healing stuff off and put it into here and here and here, it would play differently. But it's not really gear. That's just design, right? Whereas in like the fantasy games, for example, you have to find, whoops, wrong thing. You have to find loot items that you can't buy. Maybe they're crafted, but more often than not, you find them in a dungeon somewhere and you put them on. And in order to get like the really good sword, you have to beat a certain monster in a certain dungeon. And if you don't do that, you're not going to get the really good sword to make your character do more damage or hit more often or buff him in some other way, right? And so that's gear, that's loot, and that's something that you see in other MMOs, but you don't really see in City of Heroes, and it was never designed originally to be that way. Now the auction house is there, and so that does now make gearing a thing that you can do, but I thought I heard a glowy. But to me, quote-unquote, gearing is just antithetical. It is the opposite of the design philosophy of City of Heroes when it first came out, and the opposite of what I loved about the game, which was that I could do whatever I wanted with my character. There really wasn't any such thing as gear. Now I hear a glowy, and we've got 2 bosses. So we're going to need hasten. We're going to need instant healing. We're probably going to need a big luck. I'm actually going to start with Nemesis, because he's going to go desolid, and then I will fight this other guy. So I'm going to let that guy be placated while I fight Nemesis, and then when Nemesis goes intangible, which is about to happen, yeah, there he went, and I just wasted an attack on him. So now, while he's being intangible, I will fight this other guy. And now I should be able to get Nemesis. No, still? Alright, now I should be able to get him. You can see, endurance-wise, if we don't have time in between spawns, we definitely start suffering a little bit. Man, I love that knockdown. So yeah, anyway, in that video that I'm not able to show you, I just talked about how when somebody says you have to be geared in City of Heroes, it's just like, I just don't even like hearing that, because the game was not really designed with that in mind. It was actually designed so that gearing was kind of irrelevant, and you could play the whole game without worrying about loot and gear. But you can't do that anymore, and that's kind of why I don't like the auction house and the salvage and all that stuff, because I feel like the game is no longer being true to its original roots. And that's why I play so much more the vanilla way, because I like the original game. I like its roots, right? And I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but I definitely don't like the idea of having to gear in City of Heroes. And the idea that you can't join my group, you in my supergroup can't come along with me if you aren't geared. Now, she wasn't trying to be mean, right? She was just being practical. My guess is if you don't have, in fact, I know for sure, if you don't have the gear that she's talking about, I'm going to hit this guy first because these guys are more annoying. If you don't have the gear she's talking about, you're probably going to either die or cause a team wipe, right? So she's not trying to be mean. It's just, as a practical matter, you need to have a certain level of gear to do this, to do these trials. But that just made me not want to do them. Because again, I feel like it's just the opposite of the design philosophy that this game was built around. But, you know, that's my opinion. I'm sure lots of people don't agree. I could have sworn I heard a glowy over here when I was over here before. So let's hope we can find one more and then go ahead and hope for the spoiler, the asterisk, that shows me where else in this maze of a base the glowy is. Because I don't think I heard one over here. Nope. Okay, time to turn off super speed. Because it just runs me into the walls too much. Okay, I already clicked on that one, I think, right? Just trying to listen. I'm trying to look at where haven't I been on the map, which is like over here. Oh, there's another hallway. Ha. Okay. Ha ha ha. Okay, so somewhere down this hallway there should be 2 more computers to shut down. And there's one. Doesn't really look like a computer, does it? It looks, well, that's I guess the laptop on top of it. Because otherwise it just looks like a desk. And there's the asterisk telling us where the last computer is. So it's just right around the corner here. And that should complete this mission. And there we go. We beat a couple of bosses. Pretty cool. And we just have about 1 bead left to go. So we need to go to Atlas Park, but we're going to do that in the next episode. We're going to stop here, and I'll be back with another episode in the near future. Until then, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes Rebirth.